Coming up on Mountain News this morning, as Kentucky passes 600 cases of COVID-19, more cases are being confirmed in eastern Kentucky. And while the growing number of cases in eastern Kentucky is alarming to many, local hospitals want to assure people that they are making plans to deal with the outbreak. And we learned that one company in central Kentucky could be part of testing for a COVID-19 vaccine.
Dedicated to eastern and southern Kentucky, this is WYMT Mountain News This Morning.
Good morning, I'm Katie Cook. It is Thursday, April the 2nd, and your time is about 6:01. Let's go ahead and check in with Brandon Robinson for a look at your forecast this morning. Brandon, we're coming off of 2 pretty gloomy days, so I'm just so excited to see the sunshine today.
Listen, I'm excited to get back to those warmer temperatures too. It's going to be a fairly nice trend over the next few days, but again, remember, healthy at home. That's the best place you can be unless you have to be out to go to work and then head home after that. Let's take a look and see what's going on with our fog problems this morning. And that's the biggest issue we're seeing. We're seeing, again, some dense fog down toward the Cumberland Valley, Lake Cumberland I-75 corridor, less than 1 mile. Somerset, Harlan, and Middlesboro, Williamsburg, less than 5 miles. Just be careful this morning. Temperatures in the 20s and 30s down to the south where the clouds have already moved down. We're not so lucky here in parts of eastern Kentucky and parts of southern West Virginia, where we're seeing again those clouds still hanging tough and those temperatures in the 40s because of that. 58 today under mostly sunny skies. A few clouds this morning will give way to that sunshine, and as we look ahead, we will see a warming trend and scattered rain chances that return at the end of the weekend. So a couple of nice days on tap for us. We'll talk about the extended forecast in just a little bit. Katie?
All right, Brandon, thank you. In Kentucky, the number of COVID-19 cases continues to increase. Last night, Governor Andy Beshear announced 93 new cases and at least 2 new deaths. That means Kentucky likely has more than 680 cases and 20 deaths. 11 of those are in Pulaski County. And we learned about a confirmed case in Pike County during a news conference by local officials yesterday. Since then, we have been trying to learn more about that case. We now know that that person was an employee at Pikeville Medical Center. WYMT's Buddy Forbes has more on the county's response.
The 28-year-old man who tested positive for the coronavirus is an employee of Pikeville Medical Center.
Those of you who thought it would not get here, I hope and pray that this is a wake-up call for you.
He was possibly exposed to the virus by an employee at another healthcare facility, but the exact facility from which he contracted the virus is not known.
They are absolutely monitoring that person's condition for any changes. If the person were to get, more ill, then of course they would be able to go to the hospital, but they are being monitored, and any individuals that they came in contact with will be contacted.
The man is in self-isolation and is doing well. While officials say they did not want to see a case in the county, it did not come as a shock. Healthcare professionals are prepared, but they say battling the pandemic starts with you.
One beautiful thing about living here is that we don't have a dense population center. People are spread out more. That helps, but it doesn't help when people are running straight to Walmart, taking everybody with them.
What other precautions are county and city officials taking? Public gathering spaces recently shut down. Most businesses already closed to foot traffic.
It is imperative that the people of Pike County take this seriously.
Urging everyone to do their part to keep our communities safe. In Pike County, Buddy Forbes, WYMT Mountain News.
Now, Pikeville Medical Center officials told us last night that the employee that tested positive is not a doctor. We also learned the Perry County man who tested positive that we told you about on Tuesday is at the Pikeville Medical Center. His condition is not known, but officials say he is in isolation in the intensive care unit. Well, shortly after the governor's news conference ended last night, we learned of a second confirmed case in Perry County. Health officials said they received the confirmation that a 43-year-old woman had the virus last night. We are told that woman is doing okay and is self-quarantining at home. The 78-year-old Perry County man who tested positive is currently being treated in the ICU at Pikeville Medical Center. Health officials say there are no obvious connections between the 2 Perry County cases. Hospitals in eastern Kentucky are making plans for the spread of COVID-19. New numbers show that our region is the least healthy in the state. More people here have pre-existing conditions, and many counties fall into the bottom 25% of all 120 counties in health. That means more people here will need care with less resources. But there are plans for when the COVID-19 breakout finally spreads through the region.
So should something occur like that here in eastern Kentucky, there are plans, there are resources that we would try to tap to bring in, alternate care sites and do different things. I was actually on a conference call yesterday about alternate care sites. What would we do should our hospital get overwhelmed, and how would we care for those individuals and make sure that their needs are met?
3 of the district's 7 counties have hospitals. ARH in Perry County has more than 250 hospital beds and roughly 50 ventilators. Southeast Kentucky Rehabilitation Industries works on gear for the military throughout the year under different contracts for things like tents, hats, or whatever else soldiers need. WYMT's Hannah Reynolds talked to administrators of SECRI about their latest contract for people that is keeping us safe.
A couple weeks ago, SEKRI decided they wanted their employees to continue working but feel safe while doing so.
Just to make them comfortable coming to work, because a lot of people are not working right now and we're deemed essential.
Then they got a call needing their help on a much larger scale.
We were contacted by state government probably 3 or 4 days after we discussed that, and emergency management, they were wanting up to 500,000 masks as soon as possible.
In their contract, they agreed to 275,000 masks. So they hit the ground running with fabric they already had.
She's my startup on this. She's putting 2 pieces of fabric together, folding down on the notches to make the pleats. Once we put the elastic on, we can put them in the box and pack them up. We're hoping to have a pretty good lot in the box to send out of here tomorrow for the nurses and doctors.
With each and every stitch protecting every person that uses them.
We have had a history of manufacturing products to take care of our servicemen and women, and we take a lot of pride in that. So this was just a natural evolution into that when we got a chance to help people closer to home. And so we were just glad to do our part.
Making their promise to Team Kentucky. In Corbin, Hannah Reynolds, WYMT Mountain News.
Now those masks are expected to be finished within the next 2 months. Important news this morning for those living on the West Virginia line. It appears Williamson Memorial Hospital will stay open. A buyer for the hospital was approved in bankruptcy court yesterday. Williamson Health and Wellness Center made the announcement of the potential buy, which would cost them more than $3.5 million. Earlier this week, the hospital announced it would be closing in late April amid this pandemic. Well, a Lexington company could be part of testing for a COVID-19 vaccine. Researchers at Alliance Multi-Specialty Research previously performed migraine and tobacco studies. Their success awarded them the chance to be a backup lab for COVID-19 studies. 2 other labs, one in Kansas City and another in Philadelphia, are the first awarded. Should they not be able to meet the requirements, Lexington will be asked to step up.
The question when it comes to what we do as far as the studies is does it work as advertised? Does it have any other fallout issues? So it's more of a information gathering.
When Dr. Adams says fallouts, he means things like, does the vaccine give people a rash or a fever? If so, he'll report those findings and try to find a way to fix it. Lakeview Park in Frankfort is likely to be the first place to offer a state-backed drive-up coronavirus testing location. State officials say the park will be used as a pilot site. Tents, security, and protective supplies are already in place. Governor Beshear says the state will start with just one site, with testing limited to first responders and those at higher risk. Well, lawmakers passed a final state budget yesterday, but it is nothing like what the governor proposed, or even what most legislators thought it would be, even just a few weeks ago. And it's just a 1-year spending plan. All the changes are because of the COVID-19 crisis and the losses in the state revenue. As WYMT's Phil Pendleton explains, the coronavirus has even changed how lawmakers vote on the budget.
The budget includes no increases in education, no new social workers, and public workers and teachers will not be getting a raise.
I wish I could stand here today excited about this document, but Mr. Speaker, I think this is the best we can make of this situation at this current time.
In the meantime, we have little choice but to focus on our core responsibilities and make sure every Kentuckian has access to the safety net programs they may need.
The lawmakers are approving the spending plan that still has a lot of question marks.
We always pass a biennial budget, but because of the virus and our response to it, we don't know what the revenues are going to be like this month or next month.
Coronavirus has changed everything for nearly every Kentuckian.
Clerk, sound the chimes. Roll call is open.
And today it changed how the budget bills were voted on.
That part is really interesting. So we have to see how this is going to work out. This is a first.
Lawmakers took ballots from the House floor to their offices where they wrote down their yay or nay, then texted or emailed the vote in. In a chamber with more than 100 people, on Wednesday there were just about 10 in the House.
And so it's not ideal, to be sure. But these are trying times and new times, and we have to address the concern the best we can, and this is the way.
The Senate approved the executive branch budget by a vote of 34-0. The House followed with an 80-10 vote that basically keeps spending at current levels. In Frankfort, Phil Pendleton, WYMT Mountain News.
The budget does fully fund teacher and state worker pensions at $1.2 billion, but can reduce that if state revenue dips to less than 5% of projections.
A little bit of fog this morning on this Friday Eve, also known as Thursday. If you're heading out, if you have to be out this morning, be careful. Give yourself some extra time to get back and forth. That's our only major issue this morning. UVA-wise, a few clouds over that way. Parts of the area still have some clouds lingering from the overnight hours. Parts of the area already cleared out, and you'll see where as the temperatures pop up here on the map. 32 in Somerset and Williamsburg, 28 in Monticello, 35 London and Middlesboro, Harlan too. But you come back toward the Kentucky River and the Big Sandy, 40s from Jackson and Hazard, Pikeville, Prestonsburg, all the way up to Huntington and over toward Logan in West Virginia. Emoji Cast, sunshine returns today. It'll be sunny and warmer tomorrow, and Saturday a beautiful day. So the 3-day pattern not too bad at all. Katie?
Alrighty, well, thank you for joining us on Mountain News this morning. More news is on the way next. Researchers are predicting the true unemployment rate is worse than recent estimates predicted. We'll break down those numbers just ahead.